What's going on, people? Welcome to United View. Yes, I have remembered to unmute myself. So you all laughed at me, Owen. Have that. You had no faith that I was going to remember to do that. And I did. And I did. So hold that, Owen, while you unmute yourself. How about you remember to unmute yourself and introduce yourself this morning and say hello? How about that?
Well, I don't know what you're talking about. You're coming out very aggressive out of the gates. I don't know what you're referring to at all. I just unprovoked attack on a Friday morning. Just wow. Okay. I thought we were going to talk about transfer news and strikers, but look at him, flex out of the gate. Check out your melody, man. Jeez.
Yeah, if you know, you know. Big up to the whole community, man. Listen, listen. The season is upon us in a couple of days. It starts tonight for Arsenal, obviously, but in typical Man United fashion, we now need to start not getting real, but addressing certain things that unfortunately have happened. Some of which you can't avoid because it's somebody getting injured. Some of which we absolutely could have avoided by being more prepared. So, what have we got today, Owen? We have got Martial and the striker dilemma. Ronaldo, what's going on there? Barcelona De Jong hint. Are United ready for the Premier League? And Ten Hag's first Premier League presser, which will be coming up today at I think 1 o'clock as well, which is actually going to be quite pressing for him, excuse the pun,
Oh,
because
very nice.
yes, exactly, it will be the presser will be pressing because he's going to get asked a lot of difficult questions. Obviously, the Ronaldo thing is going to dominate. Then the fact that Martial's injured is going to dominate. The fact we still ain't got Frankie De Jong, we still need more players is going to dominate. It's just going to be. This is where we start to get a feel of it now, of battling down the hatches, getting behind the manager, but at the same time trying to deal with issues that are clearly there that we can't ignore.
No, you're right. And what you are referring to was this report that came out yesterday from Laurie Whitwell from The Athletic. Dropped the bombshell. If KG was here, he would do the bomb noise because as soon as he tweeted, we both messaged each other at the same time as well. We literally messaged each other at the same time. Went, oh, and it is that Anthony Martial is set to miss the opening game of the season against Brighton with a minor hamstring injury. The timing of Martial's return from injury remains unclear, although it is hoped that he may return for Manchester United's trip to Brentford on August 13, which is the second game of the season. If not, he'd be in contention to play against Liverpool in the third game. Now, Chris Wheeler from the Daily Mail is saying that Eric Ten Hag may consider a false nine against Brighton on Sunday, having used one in the behind closed doors game against Wrexham. Cristiano Ronaldo, of course, will be a part of the squad, but he's only played 45 minutes in pre-season, that 45 minutes against Rayo Vallecano last Sunday. It has been reported by Chris Wheeler that Ronaldo is said to have been excellent in training this week, which I want to be careful how I say this, Flex, because I don't want to have an agenda or anything like that. I don't want to be accused of the A word. But if there were different players and you hear that story come out, you'd roll your eyes, wouldn't you? You know what I mean? If they said, if I saw something that said Harry Maguire has been excellent in training this week, can you imagine what the reaction would be? And that's not to say that Maguire and Ronaldo are the same person, but that was my reaction to that. Nevertheless, Ronaldo is not probably going to start on Sunday because he hasn't played as much football. Let's start off with the Martial element of this. That's the reaction. It's the deep sigh because Martial's had a great preseason, scored goals, got assists, link up play was good. He had 1 foot out the door prior to preseason. And now it's kind of the reality check that maybe we didn't want to talk about that much about Martial, and that is fitness, reliability, consistency. Went out to Sevilla last season, didn't go well because he didn't play well, but also he got injured. He's been injured a lot at Manchester United over the last few years. And now it becomes that question of how can you rely on a guy that's going to be injured a lot and has been injured a lot? And we've got no striker. We're heading into the first game of the season with no striker. And that's not good.
It's a mess.
To sum it up.
Look, you got yeah, you got to call it for what it is. I think when it's time to be calm and positive and look at all the sides, you got to do that. But also when it's time to truthfully evaluate where you are going into the first game of the season, you can't dress it up. Do you know what I mean? Ronaldo's situation is the Ronaldo situation. He was never going to be ready to play like 90 minutes on Sunday, regardless of whether Martial was fit or not. So that was an issue. And the bigger issue is that we know that, we were one injury away from Martial or Sancho, or one illness away from Sancho or whatever. And all of a sudden, that front three that we're talking about has been nearly decimated with only potentially Rashford in it. I think there's reports that Sancho's come back from his illness, which is a plus. But there was talks of Alanga maybe having to play on the right, a false nine having to be adopted. Maybe Rashi has to go up front. Then what do you do? Put Garnacho, and it's like it just sums up in it that like okay, earlier on in the window, I remember me and you being quite calm. I'm fuzzing out right now, which is annoying. I don't know why. I'm hardwired in. Um, at the beginning of the transfer window, we kind of remained calm and said, look, let's wait. Things will change. You know, we will get twitchy as we get closer to the first game of the season, as we get closer to the window closing. And you have to say, with like what, 27 days left of the transfer window, something like that, it's like you you're worried. You're worried because we need more through the door. The three that we got in kind of quick succession, even though it took ages to actually confirm them, like every transfer is right now. You find out way before and the excitement's gone. But the three that we did in July was okay. That's good, but we always knew we're now into the meat of it, the meat of the transfer window, where it's hinging on a lot. This Frankie De Jong situation. Can we get another striker / another forward? And it just shows that we're not ready. We're not ready. Doesn't mean we can't beat Brighton. Of course, it doesn't mean we can't beat Brighton. It doesn't mean that. But we know that we need to get things sorted, and there's not going to be long to do it. We need to get now. It's like the attention's turned to forget whether Ronaldo's leaving or going, which staying or leaving, which is still going to be a thing. It still is a thing. But the conversation, because the game's coming up, is we need to get him fit. Do you know what I mean? We need to get him
Yeah,
fit and
yeah.
fit quick.
And also, as well, I think if you just take the names out of it, let's not say Martial and Ronaldo, just look at it from just a positional point of view. We have two strikers in our squad. One is now injured and has a history of fitness issues and consistency. The other one has played 45 minutes only of football in pre-season, and that was on Sunday. Apart from that, we have no other strikers,
Yeah,
senior strikers.
nothing.
But that on the base of that, take the names out of it, it's a massive issue. And this has happened on the first game of the season, let alone in a season where there is going to be fixture congestion. There's going to be a World Cup. We're playing Thursday, Sunday, which isn't the ideal schedule anyway. On those Thursdays, especially in that group stage, you might be going to difficult pitches and difficult conditions. And you could be picking up injuries. There's going to be fatigue. There's going to be illness. We are still living in the world of COVID as well. So there are going to be issues with that. Just clearly, and we've said it before, the strength in depth up front in those attacking areas really aren't there. And we've been talking about Šeško recently, Benjamin Šeško. We've been
Yeah.
talking about him, and is he ready to come in? And I think even United have, it was reported, they have sort of concerns about, is he going to be the guy straight away to lead the line? But you're looking at that deal now, it's making more and more sense as the days go on, because we need bodies, we need options in those attacking areas, because let's face it, Martial's going to be injured again this season. Ronaldo, we don't know about his future, but also we do know that last season, when at times he was the sole striker because Cavani was injured all the time and that's all we had, he will either go out of form, or he might have an issue with his hip, or he might just have the issues in general. We need more people. We need more people up front. And a deal like Šeško now makes more sense, because if he's young enough, he might be playing way more than even he thought if he came through the door.
But you see, the problem with that is that we say that now that makes sense, but it didn't make sense like a few weeks ago. Like, say you just had Ronaldo and Martial as like the chaos with Ronaldo wasn't there. Like he came on the tour and he shared the number 9 role with Martial, and Martial played sometimes on the left and up front. And Ronaldo was still the main guy, but we knew we had Martial to come into it. We wouldn't be thinking this. We'd be thinking, right, we got our 2 strikers. Like
Maybe,
if
but
they played
is it
well,
because
but
we just
no,
didn't
we
have
need
our eyes
another
open?
forward.
Is it just because
No,
we didn't have our eyes open? Because when you do think about it, Martial's fitness issues have always been there.
but
We
it
just didn't
depends.
really talk about it.
Yeah, that's true. But it would have depend. But it wouldn't have been hinged on this kid that we've not heard of before. And then now we're in unfortunate circumstances of Ronaldo's only played 45 minutes and now he's injured. Now, and rightly so, I get what you're saying. Now you're saying, actually, that kid, it might not be the worst, but then what it actually shows is shit's planning again, because that would be Benjamin Šeško becoming more important overnight. Do you know what I mean? When we're exploring a deal and the price hasn't been right, to now, oh shit, I know the price isn't right. Just pay it, or like it could force us into panic. And actually, I want to go back to people, because it's important to do this. It's not about because I have a certain view on something, I can't see other people's, and vice versa. People who have been very, very strict on, I'm not believing this club's changing. Those people have been proven kind of right so far. like with where we're at, because of I know it's unlucky that Martial got injured. If he didn't get injured, we would be slightly more positive than this. I get that, but their point still stands, which is that actually we're slow at doing deals. Um, whilst there's still time, hopefully that changes. I really have got everything crossed for that to happen. But as of now, people are entitled to say, well, we needed targets before the beginning of the season. A lot can change, especially in the first 3 games of the season while the window's still open. I get that. But it just proves that one injury to up front plus a saga with one of the other players, and all of a sudden we've got nothing. Meanwhile, all the other teams have gone and got their strikers and got their forwards, apart from Chelsea. But do you know what I mean? Like, and we're miles off them, and we still haven't done it. So it's like, I know this season's not specifically about catching City and Liverpool. That's not what I'm saying. But what it is about doing is improving the way that we operate and improving the way that we do things. And whilst there's been some W's, I would say, like we were right to praise the Malacia deal. That was quick. Ten Hag wanted him. We got him. You know, we swapped from Pau Torres and got Martinez. Ten Hag wanted that. Ericsson's a good bit of business. But that doesn't mean that both things still can't coexist. Like, some of those deals were good deals to do. But also, we've showed the other side to us of where we're still not quite there yet. And we're still bad in the transfer market.
Yeah, I mean, look, we've said before the issues at United aren't going to be resolved in one transfer window, not two. It's going to be several windows, several years, and there are going to be uncomfortable times and bad times. This season is not going to be a completely, smooth sailing season. There are going to be bad results. There are going to be difficult results, and there are going to be challenging times for Erik ten Hag. I think, in retrospect, already having Martial and Ronaldo as your two strikers, we were always risking it, and I think we always knew that we were risking it, and it kind of was like, well, we'll see what happens. It's like having a car. The car's got a year left in it, but you go, oh, it'll be all right, and then the first day of your new job, it breaks down. You go, knew that was going to happen, but I thought we'd get away with it, and that's the issue that we have, and and maybe in other positions you can maybe get away with it and you can do square pegs and round holes and you can sort of fudge it and make it work. But clearly we can't make it work up front because we're going into the first game of the season without a striker. And granted, once Ronaldo gets up to speed, you could say, well, then you've got Ronaldo up front. But then you turn to your bench and go, who's coming on? We had a pre-season. Even and again, in retrospect, it was even highlighted really in pre-season because we would have a squad of how many people there? 30 people, something like that. And he would name the starting 11, and then he would go to change the entire 11, or would go make substitutions, Ten Hag. He would turn to the bench, and there was no one there. There was no striker in the entire squad. Martial was the only recognized
Ahmad was
striker.
playing up front. Ahmad was coming on.
Exactly. And he did it last weekend as well. He came on, and he had to be a false nine. So even then, it was highlighted that clearly was an issue. And again, that's probably why you look at someone like Šeško. That's why they're going after him, because even in pre-season, when they had a squad of 30 plus players, we didn't have a striker. And again, I know people are saying like Charlie McNeil and all this kind of stuff, but it's very obvious.
Hasn't even played on at all.
Exactly.
Hasn't even played on at all. No way. Like, and that's no disrespect to Charlie McNeil. He's been doing brilliantly in the under 18s or the under 23. Sorry. And, but he didn't even play on tour. Wasn't even there. Didn't, you know what I mean? It's not, can't just go, oh, now you just play. It's not FIFA. You can't do that. And Ten Hag would never do that. And it's not fair on the kid.
No.
But how many times during pre-season, it's interesting you say that. I mean, I done videos. I think some of my titles was Ten Hag needs squad depth. I think someone back at HQ, their title was that for another game.
Yeah, needs more,
needs more. And we could see it. We could see it because every time, like you said, at that 60th minute, when we made those wholesale changes, not that we didn't expect it, the drop off in quality was evident. Do you know what I mean? You could really, really see it. And it was like, well, that's going to be a big issue. Do you know what I mean?
When you played Atleti last weekend, they had a strong starting 11. They changed their entire starting 11, and it got better. It got better.
Came off the bench,
but they still had strong starting 11s either way. And again, we have to realize where we are. We're not in the position where we can swap out every single position and it's still the same quality. But you would expect to have someone in that position, and in the striker one, we don't. If we swap out the entire team, we don't have a striker. We're clearly light in that position.
It's going to be fascinating to see, because actually, let's talk about the best way to deal with this crisis going into Sunday. We have got the preview coming out That'll be tomorrow. But just because we're on the topic of Ten Hag striker dilemma, with that just specifically, no other tactics and stuff. What does he do? What does he do?
Well, they're
You
saying that false nine. Look, I was an advocate for playing Bruno as a false nine before. I remember saying it in the studio, and I could see him doing that. Bruno, when he plays as a 10, even under Ten Hag, we saw it in pre-season. He plays that 10 role as he did under Ollie, where essentially at times it's like a 4-4-2 or whatever, because he is basically shoulder to shoulder with the striker. So saying him to be a false nine is essentially what he's doing anyway. So I could see him doing that. I don't think, even though Ahmad did come on in preseason play a false nine, if he starts Ahmad as a false nine, that would be
no.
reckless on a
Against
KG
Brighton in the
level.
back five as well.
Yeah,
No,
no,
no
I don't see
chance.
that. I think I would have to be maybe Bruno. I know that some people are saying put Rashford there. Honestly, I would rather have Bruno as a false nine than Rashford as a striker. To be honest, I think Bruno offers more than Rashford as a nine. What do you think?
Oh, it's a big shout, isn't it? It's a big shout, but I see why you're saying it. It feels disrespectful to Rashi because like
Yeah.
he's
Well, I
actually
say he's
trying to
more.
be a
I
striker,
say he's
but like,
more effective on the left.
it's
Because
actually a
then
compliment.
also
Yeah,
and plus the in depth players that we do have. Then you could say, well, if Bruno's a false nine, then you can play Donny or Ericsson as a 10, and then in that
you got to look off.
and
Yeah,
you got to look what you got. You got to look at what you
yeah,
got, and
and
what
you
we
got to
do
look at the
have is players in those positions. So we might as
yeah,
well try and get them into the side.
and you have to look at the drop off in position should you move the player. So if you
Yeah,
take Rashford from the wing and put him up front, the drop off to, and I know Garnacho looked good the other day, but that's one half a game against,
yeah.
Vallecano. It doesn't mean in the Premier League's a different animal. You could argue that the drop off would be bigger than if you put Bruno there, like you said, and then you've got Ericsson and you've got Dion, and you've got Dion. I wish
Imagine.
you got, yeah, exactly. That's the depth that we do want. Ericsson,
Yeah.
Dion, Donny. You've got Ericsson and Donny there to choose to go in a 10 position. So I see you thinking there. In fact, let's get a poll up actually. Would you start Bruno at false nine? Is the question in the
Because I'm
poll.
comfortable with a front sort of four of, say, Rashford. Let's say it's Ericsson. Well, actually, to be fair, I wouldn't mind Rashford, Donny, Sancho, and then your false nine is Bruno, and then your
Yeah,
midfield is Fred and Ericsson. I'm
yeah,
okay with that. I'm all
yeah.
right with that.
That it's whether he would put them in a double pivot. But then when we've been on the ball a lot of the time, there's a lone six in Fred, who kind of stays, and then Ericsson and Donny would go forward and go support Bruno. We'd have to play in a different way. You know what I mean? You could play like that if we played organized, if we played structured, if when we didn't have the ball, we got back in. If when we lost the ball, the pressing triggers were still there and we're working hard, it could work for a game or two. It's all about and that's where the manager. This is where the manager, good managers make these things work. If you have a system and a style of play, this is why we were unable to make changes before to tactically or to players' positions. The whole thing would just crumble because it was either freestyle football before, counter-attacking football under Ollie, or it was the straight 4-2-3-1 vibes with, very rigid. McTominay and Fred, you don't go anywhere. You're the pivot. Bruno, you're doing mad stuff like initiating the press by yourself, running past Ronaldo, running past Cavani, doing your own thing. Maybe Rashford might join you. Maybe Sancho would join. It was all chaotic. But I know it sounds bad, might sound a bit off on paper, but if you have a methodical way of playing that's been worked on, it doesn't matter if you, like you said, because Bruno's an intelligent footballer. So if you get him to play false nine with the right people around him, making the right movements on and off the ball, it could work at home against Brian. Of course it could. So yeah, I hear what you're saying there. Let's get to the super chats. Let me open that up. Do them in order. Flex's forehead is foreheading early, eerily similar to Maguire's. My head's not as big as Maguire's. The forehead is out, big brain power. My Jamaican nan always used to say, if you've got a big forehead, it's because you've got a big brain, got a lot of brain capacity in there. I've always had a big forehead since I was like,
Yeah, I was going
me
to
and
say
Owen have the
I'm pretty
same.
sure we've
Yeah,
got similar size foreheads. To be
yeah,
honest,
about
like
similar size. Yeah,
I've
it's just
got
because they're not
I've
used to
got
seeing
Harry
mine as much.
Maguire comparisons before, seeing that Owen looks like Maguire with
Big
the
head.
same haircut. I
Yeah,
was like, that's
listen,
disgrace.
it's big brain power, mate. Big brain power.
Yeah, exactly.
So big up
Mega
to
mind.
Victor. Yeah, 100%. And Siobhan says, if we got into the season with a net spend of 55 million, good luck to Eric Ten Hag. The board haven't backed him fully since he wanted Anthony, and even he costs 100 million. The cash should be splashed. Manager's first choice. Yeah, if the net spend's only 55 million by the end of the window, that's a disgrace. That is actually disgraceful. Game Frantic says, talk about trial by fire. This is such an early test for Eric Ten Hag's ability to drive our team through this shitstorm of situation. That's the super chat of the day so far. I said it yesterday on Sky that this is the baptism of fire for Ten Hag. And what I meant by that was that this is where he realizes, this is where he sees that, yeah, this club is a mess. This club
Yeah,
does need a lot of work. And what better person for us? This is the importance of us needing someone who's actually good at staying strong and can put tactics forward, because you're not going to get all your targets at Man United. You're going to get sagas and drama at Man United. So you need someone who can handle that while still being able to put out some decent stuff on the pitch, on the training
it's
pitch.
true. It's true. Look at like what he's had to deal with just the last couple of days alone. This like with the
Exactly.
Ronaldo players leaving early, blah blah blah, and now you've got no strikers for the weekend. Figure that out and
It was
win.
almost like welcome to Man United, Eric.
Yeah,
This is the real.
literally.
Like, it was lovely
Yeah,
on tour, but this is what it really is. And make us not win against Brighton, you will then see again what Man United is about as it stands, and the mess that you've got to unpick. But I'm confident we'll beat Brighton. Abdi says, big up Flex, got the hairline out for the Premier League debut. Yes, I have. You know what I'm saying? Premier League. On a serious, well done on preseason coverage. Loving the growth of the channel. Really, really appreciate that, Abdi. The growth of the channel has been insane. Absolutely insane. Over the last 3 weeks or so, and the summer in general, doing our transfer shows every morning at 9 a.m. This show's grown every single day, every single week, to the point where the 9 a.m. show is now a fabric of the United View. You know, you can wake up 9 a.m. in the mornings and see us and see content. Shavam says, if Chelsea spend north of 200 million after finishing third, and rivals also keep strengthening every single year, we will be caught in a battle for top four for the next 5 years, let alone Premier League challenge. 100% Shavam. We've got to start equaling or matching the rate of improvement of the other teams. I definitely agree with that. Ronald Jacob says, I want people to keep the same energy regarding Ronaldo, where people wanted to push him out of the squad. What will we do if Martial isn't fit and Ronaldo leaves? What are we left with? Elanga question mark. On that, Ronald, now, I don't think those two things should be mutually exclusive. I think you are able to say, if Ronaldo doesn't want to be here, bye. Like, for me personally, Ronald, I would rather struggle without someone who has no interest in being here than not. Like, I know that might sound crazy. There could be loads of people who disagree with me, and that's fine, not a problem. But I just feel like with what Eric Ten Hag's trying to build, you just need people tapped in. Now, if the window, now I'm happy to agree that if the window shuts, listen, Ronaldo's our player. Like, because some people say if the window shuts and he's here, oh, don't celebrate if he scores. You know, oh, you wanted him out, he's gone. But at the end of the day, if the window shuts and he's still here and my team's paying his wages, you perform. You knuckle down, you do your job, you play up front, you score goals, or you try to score goals. So yeah, I feel like I know what you're saying about the same energy there, Ronald, but for me, I don't think people are wrong to hold an opinion that, you know what, if you don't want to be here, anyone, not just Ronaldo, then bye. We've had this lack of commitment
yeah,
and
yeah,
leaks
yeah.
and break. We need a harmonious, unified thing.
And also, I think we got to keep the we're talking about keeping the same energy. You got to keep it for everyone that we were saying last season. If you don't want to be here, then don't be here. I've said before, and this is still my stance with the Ronaldo thing, that I hope he stays because Ronaldo, when he plays and he's committed, scores goals. We saw it last season. I hope he stays and I hope he's success. And most importantly, Eric Ten Hag clearly wants him to stay as well. He wants
Yeah,
him to be part of the
yeah,
team, and that's the important
exactly.
part of it. I'm not thrilled, and does leave me with a really a bad taste in my mouth about how he's been offered out to all of these clubs and all that kind of stuff. That does leave me with a bad taste in my mouth. But as I've said before, in today's social media age, you have to be in one camp or the other. You're not allowed to have shades of gray.
Mhm.
The issue is that life exists in shades of gray. You can
Yeah,
say if Ronaldo wants to leave, he should leave, but you can also say, but there's no offers for him. I think he'll stay, so I hope he stays. That
and I
might
hope he
sound quite
does well if he does
contradictory.
stay.
Yeah,
Hope he
that
still,
might
you know
sound
what I
quite
mean? Yeah,
contradictory, but that's the shades of gray that we live in.
yeah. Well, just like at the beginning of the window, I said I really want Ronaldo to stay. I think Ten Hag needs him. Ronaldo comes out, says I want to leave. All right, well, that's changed everything. You better go then. Like, do you know what I mean? Things happen, things change, and you can move with that. Big up WJ Barrett, always in the chat, always supporting the channel, always coming through, always getting involved. Been on catch with the vids after getting married on Saturday. Oh, big up WJ Barrett. Congratulations
Congratulations.
to you, man. Tying a knot. Hope
Yes.
you and yours are happy. You got married. The tour was sick. Owen was sick, holding down the fort. Talksport yesterday, the chemistry. Just saying, what a show. Keep up the amazing work, UV. Mrs. Barrett says hi. What's going on, Mrs. Barrett? I hope you let Mr.
Hello.
Barrett
Yeah.
continue to keep watching the channel. And when we're annoying in the background and you want Mr. Barrett to yourself, your undivided attention, and all you can hear is us in the background, we apologize from now. Because you know how many people I've met in real life, and I meet people's missuses or partners and stuff, and they say, oh, or people's mums, like when kids come up and it's your mums or dads or whatever, they say, oh, I've heard your voice so much times in the background, and this, I'm trying to get to sleep, or I'm in the kitchen. I hit, and I have to apologize. I'm like, sorry. Hearing
Do you
us
remember
just
when
moan.
we were doing a full view and someone put in a super chat that said, like, I'm getting married right now?
Yes,
And
that
I'm
couldn't have been
watching the
real.
full,
That couldn't have
and
been real.
I'm watching the full view. We were like, mate, I appreciate the contribution, but priorities, man. You've got
Yeah.
vows to
That was
do.
mad. You got commitments to make, and you're
Yeah.
not sure. But then again, take me for who I am. In these vows, this is
Yeah.
me. I watch this. I watch United View. That is part of me. That is,
Yeah.
you have to accept that as part of our marriage. Maybe it's
Mm.
that. Game Fanatic says, this is my fault. Sorry, I put a tenner on Martial to score. So he's jinxed it. Worst jinx to me, that is. Put a tenner on, and then Martial does his hamstring. Shivam says, if there was ever any manager to back, it's Eric Ten Hag. I get what you're saying now. Omoslo says, shout out to the Discord. Flex, stop wear the hat. Flex, stop wearing the hat ever since he went on Sky Sports. Don't leave KG hanging. He's stressing. Owen, that jersey your dad buying. What jersey is your dad buying? What jersey is
Wow.
your dad buying today?
Well, I do have confirmation on the jerseys that he
Oh,
has purchased
shit.
and the names.
Oh,
I
shit.
think I should save them for another show, but I can confirm
Oh,
that
no.
Papa Churchill has
Oh, no.
purchased some shirts, and there are some names on the back. That's all I would
Owen,
say.
you know what? You keep talking to me about Jinx, you and KG, but actually, your dad, you need to get onto him because you
Hey,
even said,
he
like,
apologized. He apologized. He sent me them. First of all, this is how bad his jinx is. He bought them and they just didn't appear for days. They just didn't show up. But he went, I don't know what's going on. He went, the jinx has already started. The curse is
yeah, because
already
no, they probably
alive.
looked at it and thought, oh, I can't put these names on the back of this. We ain't sending them
Yeah,
out.
they had to put some checks through. Anyway,
Yeah.
he has showed me who they are, and he said
Okay.
apologies in advance. He knows the power. He just can't control it.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
would say don't get the shirts then, but that's
Yeah.
what he's like.
Gnome de Gre says, I hope Ronaldo leaves soon. I'd rather we build new. And Omoslo says, Frankie de Jong who? Daily Blind deadline day. And Nicholas says, watching you guys from the United Stand days, Flex and the team, your channel is one of the best on YouTube. Content is sick, dog. And keep it up 100. 100% Nicholas. Thank you, bro. And from a lot of positivity to a complete opposite spectrum, Andrew Charles says, Flex, I'm disappointed in you. And this is why you got to love the community. You're going to get that. You're going to get this. This is what it's about. Flex, I'm disappointed in you. Okay, why is Andrew disappointed in me? You don't seem to be ranting frustrated at the club. Our window is the worst. Probs won't sign any more players, yet you seem fine. Maybe that's a good character trait that, I could be
Can I
really
take
angry
this one?
inside, or you can take this one. Yeah, go for it.
I would take this one. I would say, look, people's personalities are different. People can be disappointed or be constructive without ranting and raving. Some people, that's how they get their points across. Again, it's all about opinion. When it comes to our window being the worst, I would say that I would hold. It's not been the best window. I would also say, and people don't like to hear it, but the window is not over. I do think we'll get more players in, and maybe this weekend will actually facilitate a bit of speed coming up in the transfer window. I want to talk about bad windows. Have you seen Leicester's window, Fleck? Oh,
Yeah, it's in the zero. Yeah, it's zero.
yeah. Not that we're Leicester, but
yeah, I think I think I agree with you. Like, if you come to me for ranting and raving and shouting in front of the camera, you're probably going to be disappointed quite a lot because I don't really do it that often. I think in history, when we sacked Jose Mourinho after that Liverpool game, I think I was shouting then and I swore. A couple of games last season, I probably did out of sheer frustration. But overall, you're just not going to get that. It's just not how I am. It's just not. Loads of other people are like that. Some people are like that when the tough gets going and they really come out, and that's just how I am, Andrew. So yeah, apologies, but do not think because I'm not shouting and ranting and swearing that I think everything is okay, because
yeah. Or don't mistake it for a lack of passion as well. I think sometimes people think that you have to be animated or you have to be
Yeah,
shouting or screaming to
to
show that you're really
prove.
passionate. There's different
Yeah,
ways.
100%. So yeah, big up to you. Afghan paper says Sancho left wing, Rashi up front, Alanga right wing will be the three. Olu says United need to buy the guy who sings the thong song, Cisco. Elite, all elite. Alvis says Flex, you looking on point without the cap. Do it more often. Both your thoughts on lots of predictions for United to finish sixth. Reality check. Glory, glory, Man United. Glory, glory, UV. I do think fifth or sixth is the ceiling. I think fifth is the height. I do. I think fifth is the absolute best we can get. Might sound pessimistic. I hope I'm wrong. I hope the players do something different. I hope the team goes in a better direction. I hope Arsenal and Chelsea and Liverpool and Spurs don't have great seasons, and we can get in there and do something good. But that's just my honest opinion with where we're at right now. Owen, quickly, what's yours?
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think it's gonna be fifth or sixth. The only thing I would say is that these things are really, really difficult to predict. I say it all the
Very,
time.
very.
You look at going into last season Premier League about people that teams like Chelsea and us, we thought we were going to compete for titles. We were nowhere near. So
Yeah.
there will be teams that are meant to be doing well that don't. There'll be teams that
Apparently, Spurs are going to finish amongst Liverpool. That's what I've been told.
yeah, or but again, look at a team like Arsenal last
Yeah,
season.
very big disgrace.
Arsenal going into last season, people said they were going to do terrible, especially after their first few games. And
Yeah,
towards the
yeah,
end,
true.
they should have got top four, and
Yeah,
they didn't. So
even
there'll be
Arsenal fans
teams.
were surprised
Yeah, there'll
themselves.
be teams
Yeah.
that surprise people, seeing teams that surprise people how badly they do. As I mentioned, the top six managers that start the season will not end the season. Statistics say that at least one of them or a couple of them will go. So the season is always very unpredictable.
Yeah. In the last game when the players left, if Ronaldo hadn't left, yeah, it won't be a problem. Eric Ten Hag didn't approve it, but I feel someone from Man United did approve it. That's why for 2 days they said nothing. I don't want to keep going back to that, but you're right. You've brought up with super chat. I'll quickly just say this: um, that them players leaving was a big group of players. And there was a player liaison officer there, and there was a security guard. They left early before halftime, deliberately, and they left early before the end of the game. The security guard and the player liaison officer, if I interpret their body language and what they were doing, it was almost like having the kids on a field trip and the teachers and stuff go, right, kids, up we go, let's go. Like it looked very organized to me. Huh? And yeah, and Ronaldo wasn't there. Ronaldo was categorically not up in the I think that's what someone said, that Ronaldo was up in the press box after the game. Well, no, he wasn't. I was sitting right there. It was the same bunch of players that were there, that were always there from the start of the game to before just the end of the game. But they had a chaperone with them and they had a security guard, and it was very deliberate what they were doing. Like the security guard, I see him all the time. Actually, it was like he was like they just knew what was coming next. Right, guys, let's go. It's 5 minutes before halftime. We've agreed, like, it looks like they've gone. We've agreed, like, we get in before the crowd. And right, 10 minutes before the game, guys, off we go. Because they all just unanimously got up together in sync. So yeah, and then I think the Ronaldo situation, but it doesn't matter. Eric Ten Hag came out and said all of it. Don't want anyone leaving. So that's done. Did you see Rob Green predicts Man United to finish second? I didn't see that. Oh, I missed the super chat there as well. And Maxwell Smart says, I'm a dreamer, Flex, reckless like KG, United for the title. Smash a like on the video, peeps. We are way off 750 likes, but we are at our usual over 2,000 people watching. So let's just do it in stages. I feel like we've got to do it in stages. Can we just get to 500 first as a bare minimum? Let's do that before we move forth. 750 is the new norm, but we need to start smashing that 500 like with ease, especially when we're always way over 2,000 people watching live as well. So can we get those likes up? Big up to you lot. Oh, and what we got next?
Our favorite discussion point, which is Frankie De Jong. This is quite interesting. The reason I wanted to bring this up is because this comes from the New York Times, which, of course, massive, huge publication in America, one of the biggest publications in America. Clearly, they've spoken to the Barcelona president, Juan Laporta, or done an interview with him. They said that Juan Laporta has declared his love for Frankie De Jong. He adds that De Jong needs to, quote, help the club by restructuring his salary. This is where it gets interesting. Laporta also says Barcelona will pay De Jong what he is owed. Quote, he has a contract and we follow the contract. Do you think, Flex, that comes from maybe a bit of pressure from those in sort of legal departments of Barcelona or from La Liga going, you do realize like you got to
You
pay
got to
him.
give him his money.
You
Yeah,
can't avoid that.
yeah. It's hard to read Laporta because he just talks shit, isn't it? Like what you said before. The tune changes. It goes from, there are important offers for Frankie, obviously our financial climate and la di da di da. Then it goes to, we really love him, we want him to stay, he wants to stay, but he has to lower his demands to fit in with the structure of the other players in the club. And it's like the truth somewhere in the middle, isn't it?
How passive
With him.
aggressive though? Think of this. How
Very,
passive aggressive? How passive
very.
aggressive? We love you. We love you, Frankie, but you need to help the club by restructuring your
Yeah.
salary. You need to help the club. You love this club, right? So you need to
Yeah.
help
If
us.
you
I'd
love it
be
as
like,
much as you say you did, you'll take the pay cut, no
yeah,
problem.
I'd be like,
You
are
know
you
what I mean?
serious? Are you serious? Yeah, oh, yeah, you love the club, do you? Well, you got to help the club as well. I'd be like, you're taking the piss.
Yeah.
He's helped the club for the last 2 seasons when he took a pay cut. Now you've got to help the club even more to stay. I do again find that last quote interesting where he says he's got a contract, we have to follow the contract. Maybe they're a little bit more confident about following that contract because again, United when they upped their offer and they got that agreement, it was a little bit of extra money to get that sort of deferred wages, get that salary kind of issue sorted. Reportedly, Chelsea have said the same. Yeah, we'll have a higher offer. So you got that money to give him straight away, which again doesn't sit great with me because it feels like we're fixing Barcelona's issues when we shouldn't. But it just proves to show how desperate, I guess, both sides are to sign the player. But still, it's still this real sort of murkiness and sort of just smokescreen stuff that's going on with this deal. As the time goes on, and I suppose as Chelsea get more involved, I spoke to Marcel about this yesterday. I don't know if you saw this. Marcel's very confident. Very, very confident. He said, and I quote, I already consider him a Man United player.
Right. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, you can't say that.
Did I
You
already
can't
consider him a
say
Man
that.
United player? He said Ten
No, you
Hag's his
can't say
footballing
that.
father. So if he's going to leave Barcelona, he'll come to Man United. You
Look,
holding that
De Jong
energy?
still may well come. I'm definitely not holding that energy. De Jong still may well come, and I really hope Marcel's right. I really hope Marcel can laugh at all of us and say, guys, you all got stressed when I stayed calm the whole time. Look, he's here. He's holding up the shirt. But he's not as good as a Man United player. You can't say that. I don't know if there's just not grounds to say that. There isn't
Mm.
any, like, you can't factually say he will never come, but you can't factually say he's as good as a player as a United player. It's all but done because it's not. It's not. There's just so much complexities around this deal. As we've known, it's like the 13th week now.
And what's frustrating is what more, and this isn't me trying to bail United out or anything, but what more can United do for this deal at this point? Like, it's not a case of like this weekend goes and say we lose and they're like, all right, we'll speed up this deal. They've done
pull out.
everything. The only
Get
thing,
out.
the only
Get
thing
out
they
the
can
deal.
do
Yeah.
from their action is, like you said, is pull out.
Yeah, which is what
Otherwise,
people want them to
they
do.
have done all that they can do at this point. They've agreed a deal with not with the
Yeah.
player, but with the club. It's the ball is firmly in the player's court. And that's where this concern, I guess, comes because it's just all ambiguity now. We don't know. What's the player
It is.
thinking?
And also, I saw a report on the Daily Mirror that was claiming that basically George Mendes has given the green light to Barcelona to move for Bernardo Silva, which in turn would help push Frankie de Jong
Yeah.
further out the door. And there hasn't been loads of reports saying that. It's literally just the Daily Mirror. So take that with a pinch of salt. But if, and that's a big if they were to start pursuing him, because we have heard in the media quite a bit, not just from the Daily Mirror, but over recent weeks of, it's no secret the love that Barcelona have for Bernardo Silva, and it's no secret that Bernardo Silva could be open to that move. But if Barcelona go and do that after all this whole De Jong saga and then go and get him, they are like severely I don't know what else. I don't know what else could get him to do. But even that, he could still say, "I know you lot are doing the thing on me. I know you lot are what you're doing. I'm just not going because you owe me that. So bring in who you want. I know I'm not going to play. I know I'm going to be on the bench. I know when I do come off the bench, I'm going to be at centre back. Fine, but I'm still making a stance. Me and my agent have said this is about the principle and the fact that you can't just treat me like this and get to throw me out the back door, with an agreement made that, I know has been made, but you're trying to force. And now you're talking to Chelsea about me to try and agree a fee for that. So I just think this is Frankie de Jong trying to save face and more importantly, save money, like what he's owed. You know, um,
It's
I
going to be
don't believe he
fascinating.
generally, in my opinion, and I ask you, actually, I'll just ask you, do you think he genuinely still wants to stay there? Because, like, oh, I do love it here. I just don't want to leave, man. I really want to, with all this going on, like how it's gone on as well.
Possibly. Honestly, I think possibly. Like I was just about to say, I think it is fascinating. I know it's dragged on for ages and ages, but there's 3 weeks left of the transfer window. Something has to give. Something has to give, and it will in the next in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But as a football fan and as a United fan, I genuinely don't know where this one's going anymore. I think all destinations are likely. I the staying at Barca, I wouldn't. Would you ultimately be shocked if it was like actually took a massive pay cut? He stayed. I don't even know if I'd be shocked at that point. I would say, how are they doing that? But we've said that about Barcelona all summer. They, for a team that's got no money, they spent the most in Europe. How are they doing these things?
Mm.
We don't know. So for De Jong to stay at Barca, I'd be like, I don't know how they did it, but they did it. When it comes to coming to United, he could sign for us, and then we can go see. We always knew we were getting to this destination, but I guess we'd be lying. We don't. We don't know if he's going to end up at Man United.
We don't.
Would I be shocked if
Nobody
he went to
knows.
Chelsea at this point? No,
I think that's the thing.
I wouldn't.
Anything can happen, and anyone claiming that they know either way which one will definitely happen, they're just lying. You're just a liar, because, or you're just guessing, because there is no, we don't know. We really, really don't know with this deal, and it's like, it, I was very confident early on. I still remained calm midway through, and like you said, I've ended up where everyone else has ended up. Well, some people ended up with just pull out the deal. I'm still not there yet. I still think we've been there a hell of a long time with the assurances that we've got. So there's got to be something in there, allow the guy to sort out his wages and sort out his demands. But the more I do that, and I hear the line that we have got alternatives should we need them, I don't know, mate. Oh, don't know about
And you
that.
know for a
I
fact,
don't know
like
about that.
again, because United have been involved this whole time and they've been part of this whole process. And as you mentioned, those say that there have been reassurances that he would want to join United, or it's just a matter of the wages, and it's just a matter of the principle and the moral issue and all that kind of stuff. But for a fact there will be people within the club that will be saying to each other those reassurances, yeah, and they'll go like, how strong are they? They're strong, aren't they?
Mm.
And they go, yeah, 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 they're strong. But as time goes on, they'll be having those conversations of, I hope they're strong. I hope.
Yeah,
I
they
hope.
need to be
How
strong.
strong are they? Yeah.
There needs to be strong, and also we need to. For me personally, we need to not get involved in trying to pay that money off for them. I know we really want him, but if Chelsea want to like come in and do the money thing and say, look, listen, we'll pay you 17 million and we'll pay you whatever you want, like just do that. Cool. Like we can't be sorting out other people's debt for them. That's ridiculous.
One
You can't.
thing is
That's
clear.
adding 17 million on to the price because that's what he's owed.
Mm.
You can't do that.
One thing is clear though, and me and Marcel said this yesterday too. We categorically would not still be involved in this deal if it's a deal that Eric Ten Hag didn't want. Clearly,
100%. 100%.
it's Ten Hag driving this thing. I think those within the
100%.
club would have pulled out a long time ago with this one. And even at the start, they said this is a complicated deal. Once they got under the hood of the car and went, actually, they took a look. They went, this deal is nuts. By the way, Ten Hag said, I
Yeah.
don't care. This is the deal that I want. This is the player that I want. He said it in the interview the other day. It's not about buying players. It's about buying the right players. And clearly, for him, De Jong's the right guy and the only guy. So as long as we're still in the race, whether we're leading or not, he'd be like, go to the end. Go to the end
Yeah.
for Frankie.
Yeah. Just ride out, and then I'll deal with it afterwards. He's obviously given the green light. Yeah, because he's a very astute manager. And if it was something he didn't want, he would say. Big up Zayn Miasi. Ironic this. He says, you have Bruno as a striker. We have Jesus. How the mighty have fallen. Well, we both got two players who their best position is probably not a 9. Jesus has never been the main man as a number 9. So how do you know? You know what I mean? What are you on about? Seen a couple little
Now,
pre-season games.
Arsenal are the
You know,
kings of preseason energy. They beat Sevilla 6-0 in preseason. To be fair, you have to give them a ton of credit because I'm not sure any sides won the Premier League before the season started. Impressive. And they're not even top of the league. Bournemouth stole your spot. So it's pretty impressive to win the Premier League before a ball's been kicked and you're in second. And come tonight, Bournemouth still be top of the table. There you go.
Yeah, well, we shall see as the Premier League kicks off and the tribalism comes already. These last two topics kind of roll into one. We'll quickly go to Are United ready? We kind of have spoke about how we're not ready. But just really quickly, Owen, are we ready for the start of the season?
No.
Okay, cool. Next one. Like,
No,
yeah,
but I
that's it.
mean,
There's not really much else to say.
clearly, we're not. I mean, um, the preseason, whilst it was good and there was positivity and the atmosphere is better, you could still argue even the signings that we signed. I disagree with people going, "Oh, they're not first team starters." I disagree. I think at least two of them, maybe Malacia, all three of them are starters. But the concern is that they haven't played a full preseason, so they might not start on Sunday. People like Martinez and Ericsson, maybe not Malacia, he could start, especially with Shaw being ill, and Malacia has had minutes in preseason. But those two, say, bigger signings, Martinez and Ericsson, have had limited minutes, so they might not start. So our new signings aren't ready. Therefore, we're not ready. We don't have a striker that can start the game. There are still issues with strength and depth in the attacking areas. We haven't signed the six that clearly we want. So Fred's in there as a makeshift six. That all signs point to not being ready, but that isn't to say that all signs point to us losing against Brighton, because I
100%.
still do think that we'll win. I think we're good enough to win, and I think the football that we're playing is good enough to beat Brighton at home. But we can't go through a season like this, because if you go through a season like this, it does not lead to not success, but let alone getting the top four, in my opinion.
Yeah. Hold on a sec. Am I? No, I'm not muted. Yeah. I agree. I agree. It's like, but that's the issue that people say it's short termism. Yeah, we might beat Brighton. Yeah, we might beat Brentford second game and have 6 points on the board after 2 games. But if the squad still looks like this when the transfer window shuts, it's basically saying to Ten Hag, not as you were because you gave him 3 new signings, but it's at least one hand tied behind his back to say it's pretty much everyone the same as last year. Try and get something out of that. Do you know what I mean?
I'm already terrified of the Liverpool game, third game of the season.
100%. I mean, I think Ten Hag would receive massive, huge credit. And we haven't even seen us play yet. So, again, if we play really well against Brentford and Brighton and play intricate football and the types of goals we scored, you just know you just get a bit. I'm not saying we think we're going to beat Liverpool, but you get a bit like that. Well, that was
Bit of a
good
buzz.
considering.
Bit of a
Yeah,
buzz.
you get a bit of a buzz, and then you're like, listen, probably lose next week against Liverpool, but you know what? At least them you could see what we're trying to do. But if it goes really badly against them two, then you got the looming thought of Liverpool coming. It could be really tough for Ten Hag early on, and it's fine margins. I was watching the All or Nothing documentary yesterday, I watched the first 2 episodes, and obviously you just see how it is actually quite good. Like obviously we all want to laugh at Arsenal, and there'll be more bits we can laugh at, but it's important to take the good bits as well. And when you see everything just pile on Mikel Arteta when they've lost them first 3 games of the season, they're interviewing the fans outside. The fans are saying, "Get him out right now, go!" Like he needs to get sacked now. Like, and that was after the Chelsea game. After they've only lost 2, they do an interview with these
Yeah,
lads, and
that was because wasn't it?
"Get out."
Did they have Norwich at home? And basically, it was if they don't beat them, he's
That was
gone.
it. Yeah, if it was 4 in a row, that was the
Yeah.
one. But people gave him a bly because it was City and Chelsea, and they still obviously hadn't had all their players in yet. But that game after Chelsea, you kind of see the reaction of what Mikel Arteta's like behind the scenes, and Edu and Josh Kroenke, and it just shows you like they're like, we just need to stay as a unit. We need to just believe. Like, do you know what I mean? Then they go get slapped by City 5-0, and Jackie gets sent off. Then they're like, we just have to believe. Come on. And then they're in the canteen, and like Saka and Lacazette are like, Lacazette's like, rah. Like in our history, like we would never have lost the first 4 games before, And like Saka's like, nah, we're gonna win like 3-0, like we're gonna win. Like it's fact, it is good to see. It is good to see, and it really makes you appreciate how good Saka is in his journey and Smith Rowe and stuff like that. But anyway, what my point is that everyone comes piling down early doors. Do you know what I mean? Sack this, sack that, get out. Nothing's checked. The negativity really reigns in. It's hard to remain calm if we have this type of window and don't start the season well. And I just really hope that doesn't happen to Eric Ten Hag. But at the same time, I'm not naive enough to think that it won't, because, like you said, this is the baptism of fire. This is what it's really like to be a Man United manager at this time. And Eric Ten Hag's going to have to go through it at stages of this season. It will
I was
be
going to say,
flipping
yeah,
tough.
if it's not in the start of the season, there will be points of this season where we lose
Massive.
back-to-back games, or possibly 3 in a row or something like that, and people will start raising they'll do the people's eyebrow. They're going,
Don't know about this guy.
What's
Has
he
it really
really
made
all
much
about?
difference?
I
Yeah.
was doing a bit. I mean, and we'll save it for the preview. It's a bit of a hint for the preview, but in his opening, he had 4 opening games at Ajax. He won 2 and he drew 2. That's Ajax. You know, he didn't have the best start to the season
Yeah.
in history during his time at Ajax. So it could be a bit of a slow start. And United historically, you know, we're not always great
No.
opening games of the season.
No. A lot
So
of
there are
Ajax
going to be
fans said it as
points.
well. A lot of Ajax
Yeah,
fans said
yeah.
in the first year, we thought, what is this guy doing? No chance. Then second year, he really kicked on. And I'm not saying that's going to be the same pattern, but you do have to be aware. And lastly, obviously it's his first presser this afternoon, 1:30 p.m. I believe it is. Um, how are we feeling about that? I mean, he's going to get pressed on an awful lot, isn't he? It's going
Yeah,
to
I
be
mean,
very difficult for him.
that's what I was going to ask you. I mean, obviously, because you were in a
Mm,
couple of press conferences on the tour, so I suppose you've got a bit more of an inside look as to how he behaves, the atmosphere in the room, or the journalist
yeah,
atmosphere in the room to those press conferences. Clearly, he's going to get questions about Ronaldo.
straight
Clearly,
away.
they'll
Straight away.
probe more about his comments the other day about Ronaldo and the players that left
100%.
at halftime because
Yeah,
they'll
we'll
want
go
to get
back to that.
more
Yeah.
out of that one. He'll get asked about Martial. He'll get asked about the transfer window. He'll get
Are you
asked,
disappointed you haven't got your
yeah,
targets? Would you have liked
yeah, yeah,
more
yeah,
in by now?
yeah,
All of
yeah.
that.
So there's a
It's gonna be
lot. So there are
negative.
a
It's
lot
gonna be
of
a
yeah.
negative presser.
So there are a lot of, and there are a lot of big questions to answer. How do you think he responds to that? Are we going to see the same Ten Hag of short answers, quite sort of yes or no, and just kind of moving on?
I think it'll be a mixture of both. I think for things like Ronaldo and stuff like that, he'll just keep it short and sharp and just reiterate what he's already said. All my players must stay to the end. We are a team. We need to build this. He'll just reinforce his stance on that, and he will reinforce the fact that yeah, there's no further comment. I'm looking at Ronaldo staying. Like, I think he'll just keep that. Um, but what I think he will do is probably expand a little bit on. Of course, we want more. We need more. We are looking for again the right players. Again, it's going to be the same kind of tone. He's never going to go in there and change his stance. He's too meticulous for that. We know what he's about now. Um, in terms of the atmosphere in the presser, I mean, it's completely different because this is the league now, and then now there's actual more problems to sort out. It's all right when it's on tour. The journos are happy. We're in hot weather, or cold weather in Melbourne, but it's all friendly. It's you want more signings? Oh, okay, yeah. Now the shit's about to start. Ronaldo's only played 45 minutes. You had the situation that happened last week. Martial's now injured. De Jong situation is still not sorted. And you're about to play your first competitive game. Like, they're going to start getting, even the journos are going to start knuckling down because they'll be like, right, I'm out of holiday mode now. I need to
Yeah, the
start.
playing nice by some of the journalists
Yeah.
will
Don't
now
really
stop
know
now. That's what I was
him.
going to say.
Gotta
Like,
let him
because
know me.
yeah, because we talk about the baptism of fire and the stuff last Sunday and the Martial thing. Do you reckon this is the hardest press conference or the biggest press conference that he probably
So
faced
far, yeah,
has so far?
in his short time, you have to say that
Yeah,
because
yeah,
at the beginning, obviously, your hardest one is the first one.
yeah,
Got that out of the way. Then his hardest one would probably be after that. Once Ronaldo said he wanted to leave, and the first time we spoke
yeah.
to
The
him, he was
first
in
tour one.
Bangkok.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
obviously, all the questions was about Ronaldo, which again, he just stayed calm and said, "I've said what I said, mate. I don't know why you keep asking me 5 times over." And it took for us to come in and actually move the conversation on. Um, and then it was all right after that. It was just fine. But now it's business end. So now this will be the hardest one because and I hope that they've briefed him well, and they stick to the same plan. Because one thing, and again, I said it on Sky yesterday, one thing in hindsight, what that whole thing, the saga showed us like a few days ago when, Sky Sports had it that the club said it wasn't an issue, but then Ten Hag goes in an interview and says that what it shows is that we still have some way to go to get the relationship like watertight. Like, can we just be? It's not hard to be on the same page. Oh, and if
Yeah,
something
there's a
happens,
disconnect. There's a
if
disconnect,
something,
isn't
yeah,
there?
if something happens, right? I don't know something happened on the channel and we needed to speak about it in a public forum. I'm going to speak to you and we're going to say, right, this is the line we're going to take. I'm not then going to go and say one thing and then you go and tweet something else, and then we all look like idiots. Like, it's just
Or
not what
if
happens.
one of us did, you'd be like, "Why'd you do that for?"
Why'd you do that? Exactly.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, KG needs to be, called out. We need to talk
yeah.
about how we're going to handle this. You
Wow.
know? Yeah. This is the tact. If anyone asks, well, where's KG been for a couple of shows? Well, we're handling that internally. Thank you. That's what we're doing. You haven't seen KG for 2 weeks, but that's our business, and we're handling it internally. You go, oh well, I spoke to him. It's not great. It's not
Yeah,
great.
he's a
I mean,
disgrace.
he's bang out of voice. Do you know what I mean? Owen, why are you doing that? We just said we'll handle
Yeah.
it internally. Why
I tell
talk
you what,
about
I tell you why I'm doing that, because I love talking about him, because I fancy him.
it?
That's why I'm doing that.
So yeah, there you go. Let's get the super chats before we finish off. So that was Amy Asser was the last one. So Pav says Eric Ten Hag should get some speakers on the training ground and play some seagull sounds to get to get the players fired up for Brighton. If you know, you know. Yes, that was hilarious when Mikel Arteta played You Never Walk Alone to the players to get them in the
Yeah.
mood to get battered
Yeah.
4-0. But do you know what? In hindsight, like at least he's trying something in it. It's just, if it would have been the game
Yeah.
they nicked that 0-0 when they went down to 10 men, you would have been like, well, they dug in. But
On paper, it's not the
unfortunately,
worst idea. It's not,
no.
you know.
But in reality, it is because they got slapped 4-0.
Yeah, yeah.
Zami Assi says you have Sancho, Langa, Martial, Rashford versus Saka, Martinelli, Jesus, Odegaard, and Smith Rowe. We are levels above. Only Sancho gets in our squad on the bench. Well, Zayn, then you should score more goals than us. You should finish higher than us, and you should get in the top 4. And Arteta should not be sacked because everything is fine at Arsenal. So you do you. I'm sure over the course of the season you will always be back, Zayn, because you have been back for many, many years, and you've been shit every single season, Zayn, since you've been doing this. You've gone eighth, and sixth. So fifth, sorry. So, finished above us last season, but the other 2 seasons you didn't. So if you want to do the battle of the shitness, Zayn, it's fine. But we're both in the Europa League, mate. We're both not good. So, you've got this almighty bit of optimism and fair play. Your club have had a good transfer window. So I guess you're not on the Cronkies next anymore. It's no more Cronkies out. It's Cronkies in. Cronkies
Mm,
stay. Thanks for
yeah,
Cronkies spending the money. Everything's
yeah.
fixed. So it should be fine. Big up 8 p.m. tonight. Beat Palace, like Josh said, 3-1. And you'll be okay. Ronald
Yeah.
Jacob says, Flex, why don't you create a league on Fantasy Premier League app? It would be fun to compete with the community you have built here with you and KG and all of us. Yeah, we are working on that in the background. So many people have asked us to do it. I have to say to you, and Owen can co-sign, I'm a baby. Like, I'll spend time doing my team and be like, yeah, I've got it sorted. Soon as 1 week goes past when someone missed a penalty or someone got injured, that team should have beat that team and they didn't. They didn't keep a clean sheet. How on earth has Fulham scored against Liverpool? Now Trent's only got 1 point. Like, I'm taking him out. Like, I just do that and then I forget and I get angry and then I just stop. But it'll be good
For
to do.
me, I'm not a person, you can tell, that screams discipline. I do not have the discipline to follow this through for an entire season. Like you, I will
Yeah.
make a team and then I will forget that I've made a team. And then I'll go, oh, it's a weekend. I'll have to change my team. And then it'll be like, oh, there's a game on Friday. I missed the deadline. Then I'll go, it's a stupid effing game. I don't want to play the game anymore. Who plays this
Yeah,
game?
that's what I mean.
Blah,
Just
blah,
get
blah.
baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but we will
We'll set one up, though.
sort that out as well. Yeah, we'll do that. Mark Harris says Arteta sacked by October. Odds checker vibe. Imagine that. Imagine that after all the optimism. And to finish off the poll, we had over 1,200 votes and votes, not volts.
Votes.
Votes. Over 1,200 votes. Bloody hell. Jesus Christ. You don't want over 1,200 votes, mate. You get cooked.
Yeah.
You can't even take 240. You get cooked in the normal British grid system. Used to be an electrician. Would you start Bruno as false 9 against Brighton? Yes, says 54%, and no, says 45%. So a unanimous yes for Bruno Fernandes starting as a false 9. Interesting to see what Eric Ten Hag does do on Sunday. Guys, we got to 560 likes, which is more than the normal, but we're not near the 750. So we got to get better at that. We got to get better at that. But listen, great show. Big up to everyone. Smash a like on the video if you are new. Another video coming for you guys later on this evening. The overview is back, where we take a look at the up-and-coming Premier League games and go over the other teams and just really get into some good stuff. So that's going to be every Friday at 6 p.m. as well. So make sure you guys tune in or look out for the video then. And we've got previews coming up as
and
well.
And the press conference. Press conference is at 1:30 today. Well, Ten Hag's press conference is at 1:30. So we'll be doing that straight after.
100%. Completely forgot about that as well, actually. So just spoke about how difficult press conference is. Bloody forgot it was even going to happen. Anyway, guys, we'll see you this afternoon for the live for the presser. Peace.